Hey guys, so here's part 2 of the 3.6 notes. We are once again going to solve by completing the square. Okay, so we're going to use those same 5 steps that we did in the last problem to do this one. The first one is to move the constant over. I probably should say to the right. There we go. Now, we look here, the constant actually is already moved over to the right-hand side. So, I'm just going to leave it as this. Okay, so now, number 2, we need to create a perfect square trinomial. Now, remember, in order to do that, I need to do my x squared plus 6x, and I need to do plus length because I got to create a trinomial, which means there are 3 terms. I have -4 plus, and then another blank, because what I do to one side, I got to do to the other. So the idea is that I am trying to equal my equations, or equal both sides. Kind of like if you've done any chemistry, you try to equal out your equations there. Same thing here. Okay, so now in order to do that, we need to do our b divided by 2. Yes. So we're going to use the formula there. Okay, so let's indicate what is our b value. Now going back up, remember we have a is always in front of x squared, b is always in front of x, and our c is always the constant. So in this case, we have a positive 6. So I have 6 divided by 2, or 6 as my b value, not divided by 2. Okay, now we can plug that into our formula. So I have 6 divided by 2 squared. 6 divided by 2 is 3, and I square that is 9. So I'm going to go ahead and add that to both sides of my equation. Okay. Now, my next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to factor. Okay, so I have x squared plus 6x plus 9 equals, I'm going to go ahead and do -4 plus 9. That gives me 5. Okay. And then from here, I need to factor. So I'm going to list all the numbers that multiply to 9. We got 1 and 9, 3 and 3. Now, which pair will add up to our middle term of 6x? Well, it's going to be the 3 and 3. So remember, I create 2 sets of parentheses. I do x and x because my a value is 1. That's nice and easy. 3 and 3. Now, in order to add up to a positive 6, both have to be pluses. Now notice, once again, my factors are exactly the same. So I did this correctly. Your factors should always be the same. Now, I'm going to rewrite this as x plus 3 squared. Okay? So this is just indicating that I have 2 of the same factors. Now, I'm going to go ahead as my next step is take the square root on both sides. Okay, so I have x plus 3 squared equals 5. We need to take the square root on both sides to get rid of that square. So then I have x plus 3. Now, is 5 a perfect square? No. Is there a perfect square that goes into 5 evenly? Well, there's 1, but that's not going to help us simplify. 4 can't go into it. So we leave it at square root of 5. Don't forget the plus minus sign in front of it. Okay, now our last step is to solve for x. And to do that, we are going to subtract 3 from both sides. Remember, we cannot combine this with the 5 because they are not like terms. So that means anytime I add or subtract a number, it always goes in front of the plus minus sign. So I have -3 plus minus square root of 5. And that will be my final answer there, indicating that I have -3 plus square root of 5 and -3 minus square root of 5 as my 2 solutions. Okay, make sure you go ahead and watch the next video. We are just going to continue to solve quadratic equations by completing the square.